Alright guys, because I have a issue, uh, welcome to another 4 a.m. rambling by yours truly. So today I'm going to be talking about do you need Xiao Kuo, uh, the funny pink guy, pink fox guy, I refer to him as, and this is going to be a more technical video in terms of like actual damage numbers and how rotations work, but I just want to point out to you how this character is going to function realistically. I do have some footage because, of course, he was playable in game. I did happen to bring my E2 Acheron in there just to give a little example, so we can talk about this. Do you need him? How good is he going to be? So on and so on. This is going to be preemptive, sort of like preemptive video, or I don't know what the word is, but it's going to be a video before the actual video because I have mentioned multiple times I'm going to do a Xiao Kuo comparison video. I will, once he comes out, I get him. I'm going to compare all those characters that you would think, or that you would be using with Acheron, minus Silverwolf, because Silverwolf you're not going to be using unless, of course, you don't have any other options, or you specifically like single target. Like there's some cases, but I don't have Silverwolf, and also Silverwolf isn't really going to be the option here. I can just tell you right now he's going to be the better option, and there's a whole thing about that, but I'm going to try to get to it in this video. And so in order to understand all this, I need to explain to you the different like damage categories in case you don't understand it. In fact, I probably should just pull up the other calculator that I have created to sort of give a little frame of reference, right? No, that's not going to be useful, actually. Never mind. Okay, well, point is, how damage works in this game, and I can actually pull it aside, is going to be similar to if you've played Genshin Impact, right, where you've got your res values. It's, here we go. Sorry, I had to pull it up real quick because I should have done this beforehand. It's going to be similar to Genshin Impact if you've done it. So you're going to have your actual outgoing damage number is going to be affected by all these things. Base damage, damage multiplier, damage percent, or sorry, defense multiplier, res multiplier, damage taken multiplier, universal damage reduction multiplier, and weaken multiplier. This last one doesn't realistically matter because no enemy uses it right now. So yeah, there's only like 2 characters that even use it, and it's like Natasha and I think Sampo's technique, right? So it's basically irrelevant. But all of these are important to actually understand how Xiao Kuo impacts your damage and why his damage multipliers are basically higher than every other character in the game at a certain level. Okay, let me just do that straight. At a certain level, right? The basic way to understand this is that if you have nothing else going on in the enemy stat category, right? I'm going to call it this for simplicity. Enemy stats category. That's going to be their defense, their resistance to an element, and damage taken, and the damage reduction. If you have nothing else, his damage increases will be one of the biggest ones, giving you a straight, like 1 to 1% damage increase. So if he's giving 45% damage taken, that's just straight up you do 45% more damage. That's effectively how this functions in the simplest way to do it. Now, the important thing about that is that that 45% will multiply on top of everything else. So that means the more you've got going on, the more effective he basically becomes, right? To sort of like understand what's going on here and why he's going to be so potent across the game, but more specifically for Acheron and intentionally, right? And a lot of this goes with my video, and I kind of wanted to bring this up because I did actually get the comment from it, right? And ooh, that's not a good spot to scroll that. Look, my YouTube recommendation is a little screwed. Don't worry about it. I want to pull up this comment, right? And I've got this criticism by multiple people about like my wording for talking about Xiao Kuo in my other video, with how I think for a lot of people he's not gonna be worth it unless you go E1 S1, and that on paper is true, but there is more nuance to it. If you are an Acheron player, if you're an Acheron player, I'd say 100% get him, like just because he's gonna be the best teammate hands down, even without the dupes. But there is going to be a significant jump with the E1 and S1 in terms of his overall performance and for your account overall, right? Let me just make that clear, right? So you don't need E1, S1, but there is a significant jump to actually make it worth it, right? I'm hopefully going to cover this. The video is already 4 minutes long, Jesus Christ. But yeah, this person says, why should you skip Xiao Kuo if you don't go E1, S1? Isn't he a 30 to 20% damage increase over any second ability for Acheron team? This is close to being true. Again, trying to properly convey this in this video. but I didn't say that you should skip him. I said it would make sense if you did want to skip him because the overall damage isn't that big of an increase unless you are E1 S1, which is true because the overall damage increase isn't as big unless you do have the E1 S1, right? However, that's just on paper, not accounting for the fact that he gives you more ultimates, right? And I want to make that clear. He's just straight up going to give you more ultimates than any other Nihility character, or just basically any other character in the game, except for, like, I don't know, maybe if you're doing some Topaz shenanigans, like I've done a couple of times, right? That's besides the point. And trend users, so like MC with trend, right? But besides like a few odd cases where they can give more buffs, he's going to be giving the most amount of stacks, right? And so regardless of on paper, you technically can get similar damage numbers with other characters. He's still going to be the best and most consistent one overall, right? You're not going to have any issues. And it's just going to be better with the E1S1. So hopefully that makes sense and clarifies that a little bit more. I know I probably caused some confusion. Apologies. Never my intent here. I just want to make sure that there is actually good reason to go for his E1 or S1 if you are trying to buff your Acheron, because they'll provide account value overall and so on, right? I'm not saying you should skip him if you don't go for it, right? But I could see why my wording would confuse people by, you know, what I said, right? So making that clear, still worth it even without it. It's just that there is going to be, you know, obvious gain to getting those, and they will be very potent, right? Hopefully that clears that up. I'm not sure how really to word that, but moving forward, again, Jesus Christ, time. What does he actually do for this? So every time you have the ultimate up or use his technique, whatever, he's going to apply, or use any of his abilities, he's going to apply Fire Kiss, right? Not Fire Kiss, that's Gwenithan's stuff. He's going to apply Ashen Roast. Now, Ashen Roast is going to give you vulnerability, or, you know, damage taken percent, up to, you know, 5%, however many stacks, which is 20, it's 25% because there's 5 stacks, right? You're going to get an additional 15% from his ultimate being up, right? And his ultimate can also apply a stack every enemy action up to 6 times. They capped it out to make sure she's not completely broken. They shouldn't have capped it, honestly. Let her be more OP, but besides the point. And it's on the 3-turn duration of his, you know, turn cycle, all that stuff. So why does all this matter? Well, the first things first is, before I get into like the actual damage numbers and the comparisons, he's just straight up generating you so many stacks. You can like do 6 ultimates, cycle 0 on any MOC basically. So just to like sort of pull up these numbers right here and ignore the number mumbo jumbo, I've got a lot of numbers in here. What you're seeing here with this like 611 thing is assuming you have a Acheron with just her light cone, right? You start the fight, or I think you can do this without her light cone if she breaks. Besides the point, you start the fight with 6, right? And assuming you've got 2 other debuffers, well, obviously you're going to get a double proc on Xiao Kuo because he's going to action advance forward and then apply his ultimate. And so you're going to get this, and then you do another proc for like MC, Pella, or whoever it may be. You get an ult immediately turn 1, right? And this isn't even counting the reserve stack, or I might have counted the reserve stack. Point is, this is effectively an instant ultimate frame when you enter battle. Incredibly powerful. After that, right, you take her turn by being pulled up by Sparkle or Bronya or like whoever. You get 2 stacks, and then based on the number of enemy actions, you're going to just keep getting stacks. And you can get up to 6, right? So this isn't including his own actions, mind you. So he can go after her, get a stack, right? Enemies, like there's normally 2 or 3 enemies. Boom, you get 3 stacks immediately because all the enemies act, right? Because, you know, actions, because you'll go and then enemy goes. Boom, another 3 stacks, right? Your Pella goes again. Potentially procs 2 stacks, going to get her ultimate, going to get her basic or her skill off. Boom, another 2 stacks. And then maybe your sustain, like Gallagher is going to get his ultimate off. Boom, another stack. And Gallagher's going to give you 2 stacks in this case, action advance. Then you get another stack. Boom, you're already an ultimate 2. And you haven't even maxed out your enemy stack count. So the enemy can act like 3 more times in this scenario, and you can get a 3rd ultimate if you pull her up via like Sparkle or Bronya for like the 2nd time. So this is an insane thing that nobody else can do. And imagine, like, here's the thing, you'd be like, oh, well, I can just use Trend, or, you know, so on and so on. You put him next to a Trend user. Think about how many ultimates you can get. This isn't a hyper carry setup I'm thinking of, but if you put him and a Trend user in the same team, bro, stat gain, stat gain. Like, you will be gaining stacks like crazy, and you'll just keep spamming your ultimate over and over again. This right here is the biggest thing that he does that I think people are missing over in terms of like the actual numbers. Because like, oh, on paper, it's hardly a damage increase at E0. That isn't the point. The point is that you can front load his stat gain by putting him on Von Whack and maybe Eagle if you really want to. I'm going to just do Von Whack. I do think Von Whack's going to be his best stuff just to front load the stacks. So you can actually, start this chain, right? Put him on Von Whack. But this combined with other people, you're going to get an insane number of stacks straight up. Now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I should have tested this. You can't do this and trend at the same time, right? Because it's the same action. You get 1 stack per action. So just, I want to make that clear. This on top of trend isn't going to be like you get 2 stacks. It's just going to be the 1 stack. If his thing falls off because the enemy acted too many times, you can still get stacks from the trend user, right? I just want to make that clear. This would prevent any scenarios to where like Gepard, for example, or Aventurine, for example, wouldn't get hit. You could still gain a stack in that case, right? So I want to make that clear. But this is still insanely powerful because of this hypercarry setup, right? No trend user even, if you're running Gallagher, because Gallagher's not going to have trend user, which is what people typically run. You're going to get an insane number of ultimates just having him on the field because you're getting so many stacks, right? He's just a guaranteed ultimate bot for her for that reason. So the reason why that's important, well, you can see here, I actually do have a little bit of gameplay to actually show you as it's really important. So I can continue talking about this as the gameplay plays here. So you can see there's a typical rotation, and then you can see him also apply his debuff and get stacks for Acheron. Now I do have E2, so this example is going to be more rigged than what I just gave you, but you can see here, frame 1 ultimate already. We're good to go. And as soon as he gets his ultimate, because again, this isn't MOC, so I can't show you what would be optimal, right? And he's not geared the way I'd want him to be. You can see that you can gain stacks really fast because whenever the enemy enters battle, he will immediately apply his like max stacks, assuming the enemy that was previously on battle had max stacks with ultimate up, right? And you'll see that in a second. I know that's going to sound confusing, but see, I cast the ultimate, right? They're going to get stacks applied. They're going to start moving. They're going to get more stacks applied, so on and so on, right? And so you can see here that they're all getting stacks. They're all getting stacks for Acheron, who she's already capped out. So every one of those procs you saw there that gave them Ashen Roast was a stack for Acheron, which means in this scenario, she just got 4 stacks immediately, right? Or 5 because I actually casted the ultimate, and so they got 1 on entry, right? And I believe that's the case, right? We can fact check myself just by looking at it, right? So. Oh, it's not even on this part. We'll see it in the next part. Or I think we will. My bad. There's a lot to talk about this unit. It's very complex in terms of like actual management. I haven't even got to the damage part yet. We're already 13 minutes in. Dear God. You can see there's a lot going on here. But we can also see some very good damage by Acheron, 1.1 million on an unbuffed, like our unoptimized setup. Pretty good. But you can see here that because I had an X number of stacks on one enemy, this dude enters the battle with 5 stacks, right? It's insane right there. It's just absolutely insane. And then Acheron here's at 3 stacks, and then watch. He pulls up, right? And then immediately you gain a stack. Because them entering battle, they gain a stack. Which is crazy, right? And in case you want to like see that, it's because here, so it's yeah, so when enemies are present on the battlefield, sets the number of Ashen Roast stacks on enemy targets to the highest number of Ashen Roast stacks based on the number of stacks present in the battlefield, right? And whenever that happens, they all take fire damage, right? And so on and so on. And so yeah, it's pretty crazy because them pulling up to the field, you get Ashen Roast, right? Which is an insane like thing to have. Because again, even in pure fiction, you're still going to get those extra stacks every wave, mind you, right? So you're still getting debuffs, even if he caps out on his ultimate on the 6 stacks, right? Which is pretty damn good, I would have to say. And you can see here, we're still gaining some stacks. And that at that point, I actually did max out because, again, we already procced all the effects. But In this case is where you would pull him up, or sorry, not him. You'd pull her up, and you'd already be overcapped on stacks because he's gonna apply it with every action, right? So you're already sitting here with max buffs, basically 90% of the time. You're gonna get a huge damage bonus, and I even check here to look at the damage bonus in game. This is with this E1, or not E1, sorry, S1. They've got the extra 24% here with the 35% from the Ashen Roast, which I might have misspoke. I think I said 25 earlier. That might have just been a misspeak. My bad. The reason why it's 35 is because there's a base 15, so I misspoke there. My bad. But you can see there, huge damage increase, a lot of stacks, right? Here's an actual video of showing you how it works, the best I could do at the moment in time of recording. And, well, I slow it down just for some big, juicy Aggron damage, where I hit like 1.5 million off 3 enemies. And an optimized setup with Bronya, who isn't even like that good with her because of, you know, damage percent inflation, right? It's not 1.5 mil. I lied. Jesus Christ. Fumble video. You get the idea. I've shown you that part. Now for the other nerd stuff that this video is already nerd enough about. So, damage formula. You understand how the stacks work. In case you were curious, you need 177.8 effect res. I did the math for it. Here it is right here if you want to see the equation and try it out yourself. 177.8 for 100% chance on the ultimate. If you made this far in the video, make sure you know how much effect res you need. Say something about it in the comment section. Like, thank you for telling me how much effect res and how to build them. Actually, yeah, tell me thank you for how to build them if you made it this far in the video. Moving forward. I'm sounding insane, but I just am insane. Okay, so furthermore, in terms of his actual damage potential, what he's providing to you, here is the enemy stats right here, okay? So you can see here a regular default enemy. We're using just a regular enemy, so this is going to be default enemy scalings. Of course, different enemies will scale differently, so you can take this with a grain of salt. However, this is going to be the typical percent multipliers for all enemies. Basically, all enemies are going to have a 1,150 defense, and it's going to be a 46.51 defense multiplier. And because you take 10% less damage when they're broken, or sorry, when they're not broken, let me make that clear, the damage taken by the enemy is going to be 42% of your default damage, or what your damage should be if it was like 100%, right? Or 60% less. Does this make sense? I'm talking over myself, but like, does this make sense? Like, the damage you actually deal is 42% of what you should deal, assuming you did full damage. I think that makes sense. Regardless, this is your actual like damage percent output here of what you would do based on the enemy stats, right? What this dude does is he goes into this damage percent category, right, and juices it up to 35%. So you now do 57% of your, you know, true damage in this case, right? Now with Acheron, because her damage is all in her ultimate, or if you do any ultimate, mind you, because this is specifically with his ultimate up, he will increase this by another 15%. Meaning you get 50% damage taken, so it goes up to 63, right? 63% of your true damage, right? Very, very potent effect overall for all ultimates. And in fact, this will matter across the game, right? I'm sure somebody's going to look at these numbers here. This is just a raw math. I don't have like sheets for like overall rotation damage, but okay. Jingliu should be the frame of reference here. That's what I intended, but I forgot the calc's different. I've got 2 separate ones. Besides the point. Point is, you can see here that this 50% that he is giving Acheron just from him base is a very nice damage increase. It goes up from 117,000 to, again, if we do the 50% here, you go up to 176,000. You are getting over 60k damage just from him being on the team, ignoring the fact that he's like doubling your stat gain. Insane, mind you. So this is an incredibly powerful effect that no other debuffer in the game can even replicate, right? Now you're gonna be like, oh, well, actually, this number, I'm gonna tell you to shut up. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you to shut up. And we're gonna talk about that. So the reason why I'm emphasizing the E1 matters so much, or sorry, the S1 matters so much, is because the S1 is adding a potential another, I believe it's 10%. To 24% off the top of my head. I honestly forgot because I'm yapping for too damn long here. Jesus Christ. Yes, it's another 10% base for any attacked enemy for this. And then if they take dot damage, it goes up by another 14%. So another 24% damage taken. So what we can do here is we can take this up to a, which apparently I did the calc wrong beforehand. So it's actually better than I realized. We do this to 74% because that's what you do when you add 50 plus 25, right? Boom, 74% damage taken. You're now doing 73% of your damage, aka 73% of what would be your true damage for this example. I'm going to pause real quickly. Okay, I paused because I thought I was sounding a little delusional there. I just misspoke, right? I want to make sure I'm getting correct information here. I misspoke when wording his passive. It goes up to 35%. I said plus 25. It's plus 20. The first stack is 15. Right? I just want to make that clear. You can see this reflected in game just for the actual number, and then 15%. So what I have here on the sheet is still correct, mind you. It is 74% damage taken. You can even see this reflected in the fact that I pulled up a calculator just to make sure I'm not insane, right? You take your 50 from that, plus the light cone, which is another 24. You get 74% damage taken, so it's 73% of what would be your true damage. Very, very potent, right? That's just the S1. Huge damage increase, because mind you, we start at 42%. So we're getting real close to almost double damage here. And that's just with him. Crazy. Now, reminder, his S1 is adding another 40 damage percent. So his E1's another 40 damage percent. So you've already seen here, we're almost doubling Acheron's damage with just the character and the light cone. And by the way, this applies to like every character universally, but if they're doing their ultimate, by the way, you get 15% less without the ultimate, just making that clear. Insanely powerful effect. You're not seeing this replicated for many other characters. And then if you just want to see an example of what the E1 does for you, another 40% here, boom, you can see that you get another like 30k damage. Very, very pog. The E1 is very good. If you want to see the comparison between E1 and S1, well, guess what? You already saw that there. We're going to drop back down to 50, and you can see that the E1 is actually very comparable to the S1. So, which one do I recommend? I personally would recommend the S1 because the S1 is going to be good for your account value overall, as you can use it on other characters. And so even if it is like a 1% difference between the two, in terms of actual raw numbers, you can use the S1 on other characters. And so for dot teams or, account flexibility reasons, it's going to be more valuable than getting his E1, even if his E1 is comparatively just as powerful for Acheron specifically, okay? So if you're wondering that answer, it took 22 minutes to get to it, but you got your answer. I would recommend the S1. You can call it a day there. I'm getting S1 E1 because I want that raw damage, all right? I need a raw dog. Anyways, very, very potent character. As you can see here, a lot of damage percent. Now, let's compare it to his competitors via raw math. Now, we already know he's going to give you the most stacks, so without question, best support right there. But if we do it as competitor, we're going to take Pella, for example. Pella with sweaty Pella. I went to lose. Why did you make that into existence? Regardless, Sweaty Pella can give you at most 56%. No, it's at a level 12, it's 42% plus 16, 58% defense down, which is going to be 61, right? Now, if you've been paying attention to my insane ramblings, 61 with a Sweaty Pella, which is R5 Pearls plus E6 Pella max talents, is actually really close to his net 50% damage. So while on paper, you may see, oh, he's only increasing my damage by 2% over Pella, you're forgetting the fact that he's like tripling her stat gain. The only downside is the skill point positivity. You're going to be spamming skill of this dude because you get 2x his Ashen Wakes tax, which just means you build up your damage taken faster, right? So, yeah, a completely max investment Pella is still worse in most scenarios than this guy, E0. Pretty damn good upgrade, I'd say. And then obviously the E1 and S1 blow her out of the water. But here's the thing. You're going to use both of them. What does both of them look like together? Well, glad you asked. Let's add back that 58%. And oh, would you look at that? We're almost doing true damage. Let's add in that 24%. Oh, we're over true damage now. This combined has almost tripled Acheron's damage. Pog! Alright, you see why he's good yet? And by the way, this can apply to everybody on your account. Not just Acheron. She just benefits from the stat gain. Alright. I sound like a Xiaoquo salesman right now, but I'm just trying to emphasize what he's actually doing as like a precursor to the video, so you guys can see what to expect in the comparisons, right? Whenever I do show the, oh my god, Jesus, I broke the calculation. So then, it's way too early. Why am I still awake? Jesus Christ, bro. Okay, insane ramblings continue. If you want to know anything more about his dupes, I'm not going to lie, this is a E1 or E6 kind of character. Everything in between does not matter. Technically, the 5 does increase your scalings, but like, who cares? The E6 is the one that gives you your res pin and it becomes more OP, where him solo is like 100% damage taken, which, mind you, him solo over doubling your damage, kind of insane. Anybody out there looking to E6 another dude and is like, should I do it? Pretty good value here, I have to say. He just straight up doubles everybody's damage, like even more than that, which is, you know, pretty insane. Is that everything that I need to cover in this video? One moment as oh, wait. Silver Wolf. Okay, so here's one of the arguments that I'm going to see a lot of people take. So straight up, Gwenhyfin is just going to have worse numbers, flat out. So we don't need to compare it. You've already seen what damage taken looks like. Gwenhyfin is just going to have lower numbers than that. Don't need to compare her. The other competitor that a lot of people are going to like to pull up is going to be Silver Wolf. Silver Wolf type advantage will not beat him. Let me explain why. So, if we go over to Silver Wolf specifically and we look at her numbers, I do know off the top of my head it's like 53%. I've got this memorized because I've done this way too many times. But I just want to do this on screen so you guys can actually see. So it's 8 plus 45%. As you can see, 50. Wow. Make fun of me in the comments for that. Where is it? So it's 53%. I already knew that off the top of my head. So Silver Wolf has her defense down to 53%. Just flat out, nothing more. So, and here's the thing. You typically don't run pearls on Pela, or not Pela, sorry, Silver Wolf, because she's not going to have the good uptime. Silver Wolf already doesn't have the best uptime, and she's also single target. This makes her worse than both Pela and Xiaoquo in buffing Acheron, because no similar or worse ultimate uptime and just worse damage percent taken. So you can see 53% on a maxed out Silver Wolf is only hitting this raw number right here. And even furthermore, right, we have to factor in Silver Wolf's res down, because a lot of people like to mention how potent she is for single target buffing. Well, here's the thing. Her res percent only goes up to 13% when you are already type advantage. I put it in the wrong category. God damn it. It goes to the 13% with type advantage, which single target, as you can see here, is more than him at E0, no weapon. However, this is single target and it's very inconsistent, and also requires Silver Wolf to actively use her skill to actively reduce the enemy's res down against that, right? This is not worth your money and it does not hold up any value, right? You want to know where Silver Wolf does win out theoretically on paper, right? With all this is not when you add Pela to add damage, like defense down, because again, if you want to stack defense down, right, sure, 90%, right? That's still 2 characters, which we've already proven that, was it 58% plus the 74% he's giving is actually higher than what Silver Wolf would do in that case. Or I guess I can take off this and do 50%, right? It's the exact same. So he's now doing what Silver Wolf does in a fucking AoE scenario, which is just a better upgrade. So him plus Pella is better than Silverwolf plus Pella with just the raw buffs already. So if you want to, be like, oh, but these two together, no, just flat out, you can see it here. Him plus Pella is already better than Silverwolf plus Pella because you're already maxing out your defense down. It's just a math thing, right? In case anybody would want to like, actually, me, all right, I just want to make that clear. This is the one case though, Silverwolf can beat out somebody, and this is the only time Silverwolf beats out somebody, is whenever you have defense down, or sorry, res, whenever you are truly resistant to the enemy. So 40% res is what's going to be the resistance value. His 50% is only going to take you up to 53, right? Versus Silverwolf, who is going to do a maximum of 33%, it's going to take you up to 54. Which, to be fair, not very convincing for Silverwolf's case, is it? So, even if what I said is true, technically when you are type disadvantage, it's a 1% difference. Effectively meaning, even type disadvantage, this dude is better than Silverwolf, which is insane to think about, right? Never would I have thought they'd actually just say, rip Bozo to Silverwolf, all right? Silverwolf is effectively dead on every other team outside of Mono Quantum. Now, granted, you're going to be like, actually, that's the 50% because you included the ultimate. God damn it, you're right, I did include the ultimate. I'm not going to not include it. Sure, technically your skill damage is going to be a little higher in Silverwolf. Nobody cares. Ultimates, for a lot of characters, are the highest damaging hit, and it's the one that matters. Despite the fact that we're moving away from energy-centric meta, it's going to be an ult-centric meta still, regardless. Only characters like Firefly Dan Heng, who don't actually do ultimate damage, is, what matters, so. Yeah, just to give you frame of reference. Also, reminder, I can actually pull up the other calculation. This is still going to work on a Firefly team, right? Look at this MC Super Break value right here. It's pretty high. Here's what happens when you add in another, I don't know, it's not 74. It's 35, 50, 59%. General vulnerability. Boom. Massive damage increase. All right. Made use of the break chart. So yeah, that's basically all of the math there. This video ended up becoming 30 minutes long. God damn it. Well, hopefully this explains, do you need Xiaoquan? Because if you don't understand from all the stack talk that I did and all the number talk, he is going to be Acheron's best partner. Now, just for reference, because in case you guys do want to see here, we are going to juice this. Well, I already juiced the stats. These numbers down here below, dude, I'm all over the place. These numbers down here below are whenever you stack E2 Acheron plus Sparkle plus Xiaoquo and Ruan Mei. This is like giga juiced whale stuff. You're hitting like 6 million plus ultimates in an AoE scenario. Is this going to happen? No, because they're going to die from your basic attack. But I'm sure somebody out there is going to show hitting the damage cap with Acheron. With these characters, like E6, all that stuff, right? Oh, and that wasn't even true max. I didn't max out their weapons there, so you can actually go way higher than this. But just to give you frame of reference, if you start stacking all these debuffs on Acheron and these characters, you can hit some insane damage numbers, all right? This is going to one-shot everything in the game, this 1.6 million. And so, yeah. Yeah, I don't even know. Oh, by the way, I did exclude the fact that they're broken. Just do 10% on top of any of those numbers. Yeah, 10% on top of any of that. That's the real damage value if they're broken. I leave that in because a lot of times they're not broken, if from reference. Okay, is there anything I missed? This example here is using blank debuffs here, just to make sure the passive's active. The crit stats are reflective of my Acheron, so it's 200, so this is more realistic than not. My stats are actually higher than this. I just wanted to give that from a reference. I think that's everything. So yeah, to summarize this whole thing, because I think that's everything, and of course, if you like this video and whatever this nerd shit is, don't forget to like, subscribe, check me out on Twitch, all that stuff. I'd really appreciate it. I'm going to do a massive 300 plus summoning session whenever this dude comes out for him and Sparkle. So hopefully I can get the E1, S1, and Sparkle so I can do one, you know, Arcrillion damage or however you want to say that. So yeah, to summarize this, he's generating her the most stacks no matter what you do. You can get a 3-turn ultimate from him if you spam skill, which is what you're going to be doing realistically, especially if you have Sparkle. And Pella can mostly be ran skill point positive, and Gallagher is also skill point positive, so you can offset the SP even in non-Sparkle teams. So that's really good. Run him Von Whack if you do want to see the... Should I pull up the build? You know what? I paused only to realize I broke the build. But yeah, so again, as I was saying, the recap. He's clearly, by far, on paper and in-game, Acheron's best support. You can see it. You can use it for yourself. I'm going to use it later, again, to show you an in-game comparison of all of them. On paper, he's clearly the best. On paper, he beats out everybody else, right? Especially with that E1. His kit is something rare. There's only like one other character that even does this, and it's like Gwenhyphen, and he's just a straight upgrade of that. I mean, Welt to some extent, but like, who's using Welt? His is only 12% versus 50%. Anywho, big damage, big value for your account wide, because you can always run him in the 4th slot, because as you can tell by the actual math, he's going to be a very strong 4th slot person in hypercarry setups, if you can funnel the SP, that is, right? Of course, Ruan Mei is very comparable if you've got her with dupes and all this stuff going on. Again, like there's number crunching you could do to compare that, but no one else is going to give you this much damage taken. This is a unique thing in the game that is very potent because it multiplies with everything else, right? So yeah, again, I'm probably repeating myself here, but in conclusion, he's giving you the most stacks. He's giving you the most damage percent for Acheron. He's giving you all the debuffs that you could possibly want. So you're going to instantly cap out on whatever set bonus you need to proc with him on any character, right? He beats out everybody else, and he's pink. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say. I'm gonna wrap this up with a clarification, just like I said at the beginning of this video. Do you need E1 or S1? No. Are they good? Yes. As I said earlier, don't forget to like, subscribe to me on Twitch if you like this insane rambling here, if you like this nerd content, all that stuff. I do it often on the Twitch anyway, so we do a whole lot of that. Thank you for watching, right? Again, long video, me yapping about this dude for 40 straight minutes. Absolutely insane. Peak cinema, if you ask me. I know I keep pausing, but like genuinely, I'm just trying to cover all my bases for this sort of thing because there's a lot to talk about. So yeah, that's the video. Do you need him? No. But he's going to be really damn good on your account if you pull him. All right? It's just that simple, all right? And if possible, try to get the S1. Or if you get lucky, obviously, E1's very good too, right? So yeah, shout out to all the people who, you know, were curious about that. And I'm going to end it here because I've talked for way too damn long.